Welcome to my CodeWars challenge. This is the first episode of this season. So for today, we're going to do the challenge check same case. We're going to write a function that will check if two given characters are the same case. Here we already know that we'll receive two parameters, a and b. So let's see the examples. We got a first parameter that is an a, and the second one is the g, and the first parameter is a lowercase and the second parameter is lowercase also, it must return as 1. If we got uppercase and uppercase, it must return 1. If we got a lowercase and a uppercase, it must return a 0. And for the scenario that we got not alphabetic character and the not alphabetic character, it must return -1. The same thing for the scenarios that you got here a not alphabetic character and here an alphabetic character. It must return also -1. So let's start. For the Python beginners that don't know how to write a function, I'm going to explain how you can create a function in Python. So when you are writing a function, you must always start with the word def. Def means definition, okay? Definition of something. Here you're going to define the function, the name of the function. So in this case, it's the same underscore case. And here you got the parameters that your function will receive. So let's start to implement our code. So for the first validation, we're going to know if the first parameter is a lowercase and the second one is a lowercase too. So for that, we're going to call a function that is lower. So this will return a true or a false, a boolean. So for this scenario, we must got a true. If a is a lower and the second parameter is a lower, we must return 1. We must apply the same logic for the upper. So what we're going to do is if it's upper and the b is upper, it must return 1. So we already covered the two scenarios here, the two first scenarios. So let's go to the final one. So for this scenario, we must check if the first character is a not alphabetic. So here I'm going to call is alphabetic, alpha. It means alphabetic. And we must put here not, because if it's not alphabetic, okay, we must return -1. The same thing for the B. So here we must put B not is alpha, okay? So here we're going to return -1. So a leaf for the Python beginners means that if this condition is not valid, either this one, it goes to this one. Okay, so here I'm going to put a leaf. Okay, it's the same thing. So finally, if we got lowercase and uppercase, we must return 0. So here we're going to put return 0. Let's check if this code that we write will cover all the examples that we have here. So for the first scenario, if it is a lower and the b is a lower, it will return 1. So this will cover it. The second one is uppercase. This is right. The third thing is not a alpha and not a alpha, so this is a -1. And finally, these ones, it will return 0. So let's try to click on this button that is a test. That will test our code and see if it passed on all the tests. So it passed in all the tests. Let's click on the attempts to see if our code is right. Yes, it is. It passed in all of the tests. So yeah, it's that. This is the episode for today. So see you in the next episode. And thank you guys.